Hey, I want to talk to you about an idea around perception is reality. And I was just talking to one of my clients and this popped up, so I thought I would share this with you in the video. The other part of that is that if you're going to say something, you better do it. And if you're not going to do it, better not say it. Now, this comes out, actually, I'll tell you a quick story. I came up with this term today because it's my background anyways. I used to work in the education space, and I learned, I did that for about 15 years working in for-profit education. And one of the best lessons I learned, I'm going to call it the student lounge effect, which applies to this here, is that, when we would start out a campus, we would start at a new school, we would have extra classrooms because we were trying to fill them. And one of the natural things as somebody that was new in this would say, hey, why don't we take one of those classrooms and turn it into a student lounge, okay? And that's a rookie mistake, and that happens all the time because what happens is, well, all of a sudden you start to fill that school. You start to get more customers, more students, and then you have to take that student lounge away, and what happens? People are mad. Likewise, if you had a broken chair and you'd put it in the hallway and you'd write broken on it, people would get mad. Before those things happened, they didn't even know it existed. So they didn't know there wasn't a student lounge, and they were perfectly happy. And they didn't know there were broken chairs, and they were perfectly happy. So I learned that lesson early, is to say we no student lounges for classrooms. And also if you had a broken chair, just get rid of it. And this comes from the conversation we were just having around chatbots. Okay, now I'm going to switch gears a little bit. My client was telling me that she's applying, her and her husband are working on his master's and PhD type stuff. And on the school websites, they found there was these chat bots, and it would say, hey, do you have a question? And so they would type their thing in the question, and the chat box would say, oh, well, nobody's available right now. Somebody will get back to you soon with your email. It feels kind of like a bait and switch. Now they're pissed because that chat box kind of tricked them. Before, if they didn't have the chatbot, they wouldn't even have been upset. But now that they said they were going to do something with that chatbot and then didn't, now they're upset. Okay, and the last thing is that just around the idea of perception is reality. Is I was out at a restaurant the other day, and I ran into a couple of friends sitting at the bar, and one of the guys knows what I do for a living, and the other one really didn't. And so we were talking about some stuff, and he said, well, why don't you give me a call or send me a text and we'll talk about it. And he did like this. I had to make this up, by the way, because I don't have the card with me, but he went like this, and he handed me something like this. Let's see if we can see that. And my first instinct was what? It looks like a piece of stationery paper. It was all one piece. And I thought, well, why is he handing me this piece of stationery paper? So he went like this and just folded it and handed it to me like that. And I was like, why is this guy giving me a weird piece of paper? And I was like, I don't know what you want me to do with that. And so he said, well, I want you to text me. And I was like, well, why are you giving me this piece of paper? And he said, that's my business card. And he was getting a little bit upset because I didn't understand. Now, granted, maybe I'm an idiot, but I said to him that I didn't understand what you were doing. And so I didn't know what to do with it. You were changing my behavioral pattern, and I was confused. And he said, well, that's your problem for not knowing that that's a business card. And I said, that's actually not my problem, because perception is reality. The fact that I didn't know what it was, that's on you. The way you presented it in the moment, that has to be on you. Even if I'm completely wrong or I'm an idiot, how many other people out there would perceive it that way? If you're watching this, how many of you would perceive if somebody just said, hey, text me, and it looked like this? Would you think that that's just not a piece of stationery you find at a hotel? And so, he was arguing with me about whether that's, I'm right or wrong. And my other friend said, actually, you're wrong, man, because, Joe's right. It is perception. And whether I'm, stupid for not knowing what it was, the fact is, as the audience member, I'm right because of how I perceived it. And so those are the two lessons here, is that whatever you are going to, whatever you say you're going to do, whether it's chatbots, whether you're going to send somebody an email right away, you're going to follow up, you're going to do something for them or give them something, and you have best intentions. If you say you're going to do it, you better damn well do it. The second thing is understand that perception is reality. Whatever the audience perceives your message as, that's the truth, not what you want it to be. So you have to go and make sure you're testing that message. You're testing things. So when somebody says, what do you do? When you give them this great, USP 30-second pitch that you've been working on, and they stare at you blankly, you need to rework that. It sucks. But if they're like, oh, cool, then that works. And so I hope that helps. I want you to go and apply that. I want you to start looking at all your interactions and see, are you getting the reactions that you want, or are you just going through the motions? Anyways, make sure you subscribe, and we will talk to you soon. Hey, this is Joe Girard with Change, Grow, Achieve. Thanks for checking this out. Remember to subscribe and check out some of the other videos and resources we have. You know, as a sales coach, I spend a lot of my time just helping people be less weird and more human with their customers. If we can help you and your high-performing team, reach out to us, let us know, and let's connect soon.